Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Thank you all for listening to my video about my neck issues that I've been having. Before we get on, some people have made comment that they notice that I've lost some weight. You can usually tell it in my face. If I take this off, you can actually tell my face is a lot less puffier and all this stuff. So there we go. Okay, just the reason why I'm doing this with the cervical collar is I want to explain what I'm attempting to do here. And what I've been doing since my last update, which is probably end of October. So about the weight loss, first of all, nothing to be concerned about. What's been happening is I've really been focused on losing weight, better diet, which means I'm not eating fast foods or eating out as much as I was before. I'm just basically cooking meals at home, which has been tremendous. After I had a scare about a lesion on my liver back in October. I decided to really focus on let's heal with a better diet. And even October wasn't that great, but November I started being a lot better at that with the diet, walking 2 to 3 miles every single day. I've been doing that anyway since this all came through, but I focus on that a little bit more, especially the fact that I was starting to feel strength back in my legs and whatnot. Um, and the other thing is I've been doing DDP yoga, and I'm about 3 months into it. Actually, I am 3 months into it now at this point. And this past month has been seeing the most results out of anything. After all said and done, I've probably lost about 25, and I'm getting close to 30 pounds lost in 3 months, which is tremendous. 10 pounds a month is tremendous. Just so everyone knows that it's nothing wrong with me, that's going on as far as I know. And well, that's not wood, but I have wood. Here we go. There you go. There's wood on my floor. But as far as I know, so hopefully that's all okay. Always a concern when you start seeing weight loss, but obviously I've been taking the right steps to get that weight loss instead of seeing weight gain and putting myself in those bad habits, because there was a lot of bad habits that I was doing every single day. I mean, some people go out and eat out maybe once, twice a week. Well, and some people go out maybe just for dinners and some people just go all crazy. Me, I was going all crazy. And it wasn't just like one place I was going to. It was like multiple places and all this stuff, and that having extra weight puts straight on your neck. Anyway, so after October, I think I updated you guys after my what I'm going to do next. November was a little rough for me, at least with my neck, and I was having a harder time with this. I'm still having a harder time with it, but I'm closer to answers than I ever was before, and hence why I'm wearing this right now. So I'll get into that a little bit later. So I remember my biggest issues. I was home a lot, and I'm not getting out, I'm not doing things. But then like trying to get out a little bit more, and I'm like I'm not feeling good. Something's definitely wrong with me. I don't know. I think it was around Thanksgiving time when I went to my cousin's house, which is actually up near my work, and I was having a very, 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 very hard time driving to her house. And I think I had to pull over like 2 or 3 times just to get up and stretch. And I'm like, man, this is pretty brutal. I'm like, I shouldn't be having to go through this. But it was like, when I'm standing up and walking, I was feeling okay. But when I'm sitting down driving, especially when I come into stop, it was worse. And then I'm like, I shouldn't have to go through this. Something's definitely wrong. Um, Driving home was even worse because it was dark, and I was having a hard time seeing driving home. I've been noticing that a little bit more. I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? I'm like, I have no idea. Um, One of the things that I did today and earlier today, I wasn't wearing this neck brace earlier today. I'm just doing this for now, just for this video, and maybe a little bit later tonight when I go to bed, just because there's been a recommendation from me from somebody. Is that I kind of searched for a little bit of answers about some vitamin D toxicity that I've been going through, or overdose, or whatever you want to call it, and it might lead me to some answers. You can look at that video prior to this one that I have on my YouTube channel. I just posted it today. I didn't share it with anyone because I didn't want to sound too crazy, but in the same sense, some of it makes a little sense. So it was November time frame, and I had a nice Thanksgiving, but really I really wasn't. I'm trying to remember. I might have sat down a little bit in a chair or something, or I was just having some problems though. Even like the stupidest things. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is really bothering me. I'm like, I can't believe this is like sitting down is such a challenge for me right now, especially at Thanksgiving. And I really didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that, you know, I couldn't enjoy my Thanksgiving with my family because I enjoy spending time with my family. I really do. Um, so that was the thing. So I came back and said, hey guys, you know, this is something that I have to go through. I really have to now try to figure out what to do and what is my next step here at this point. Do I go see a neurosurgeon, which would have been one of the steps? Do I go back to this orthopedic doctor to send me to physical therapy and he's just going to do more stuff on me without, you know, without throwing me into any surgery, which is another thing. I don't know if this really looks straight. Or should I go see a chiropractor? I've been very much against going to see a chiropractor. I had bad experiences with them. I'm not going to share those experiences with them, but for the most part, I've had bad experiences with them. I think the other piece that really bothered me the most was when I went for a haircut, and I went to go sit down in my barber's chair, and my barber, like, you know, he lifted the chair up a little bit, and I literally felt like my head was gonna roll off my neck. I couldn't support myself. I couldn't support myself up straight. Like, that's what my problem was. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, something's definitely wrong. And I had to tell him. He goes, well, tell me what, you know, tell me what you need. And he's like, I could do this really quick if you want. I give you a really quick one. And I'm like, yeah, let's do a really quick one. I'm like, let's definitely do it. And then that's fine. That got me out of there. I drove home and I wasn't feeling that great driving home. So decided to go see a chiropractor and you know, a local practice here, which is one of our top practices here locally where I live. And and ironically enough, I'll just tell you a little bit of story about this. I was supposed to see the guy that actually runs the practice. However, I didn't see him because he was so overly booked with all these patients because there were a lot of people coming in there. But I saw one of the other chiropractors on the staff, which happens to be a girl. Um, so it actually worked out a little bit better because what ended up happening was that her adjustments are a little bit lighter. And when I mean adjustments, it's not just a crack of the neck or anything like that. I'll explain to you exactly what she does. So she did all the testing. She noticed that she looked at my MRI from like 6 years ago, which I was very baffled by because I know no chiropractors ever looked at MRI from 6 years ago. Noted where all the problems were, saw them, and said, okay, you know, we can treat this, we can fix this. I think you know we're going to be on the right track. We're going to get you really good. One of the things they wanted to try with me was a spinal decompression therapy on their chair. So it was this big, gigantic chair. I sat down in this big, gigantic chair, and like naturally, you know, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this should be okay. This chair is pretty big though. How's this gonna work? Suddenly, it gets lifted up and then backwards, and I felt like I was gonna fall right out of the chair. Now, for those people that you know, and they're like, you're not gonna fall. You're not gonna fall. I promise you. We're gonna support your head. We're gonna strap you in. We're gonna decompress your spine. It's gonna pull, you know, basically pull your spine a little bit. And I'm like, oh, it's something. I'm like, no, get me out of here. I'm like, I feel so. For those who don't know, um, what happens is back, wow, when this all really started back like 7 years ago, with some of my weakness that I've been having. And I'm not. This hasn't been, you know, 7 years ago, but obviously I've had some neck issues 7 years ago. This is something different, and I'll get into that a little bit. So it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna have to take you out of here. Let's go and do an adjustment. So she doesn't. She said, she just asked, how did it typically adjust you? Did it just crack your neck and that was it? And I said, that's what it felt like. Yeah, when I've gotten a chiropractor. She goes, that's not gonna happen here. So what she did is she brought out this tool. It's called oh boy, I want to say not an adjuster. It looks like a shot basically. It looks like, you know, a needle, but it's not a needle. Um, but basically what it does, it puts pressure into your bones and tries to put your bones into place. And I noticed that she did that, and she did that, and she did that, and she went up and down my back. And I remember that the day that she did it was the day that I went to a holiday cookie party, and that was fun because she did that, and then I felt like what was happening was one of the big things that was happening was my right foot. I couldn't, like, my right foot wasn't flat. Like, I couldn't stand flat on both of my feet. When she made that adjustment, I was able to stand, not only able to stand flat on both of my feet, but I felt like all my strength just returned to my body that entire night. I was doing so good. Like, I was like, wow, I'm like, I could stand, I can sit. I feel really good over here. Not perfect, but it's something better and something work. So I continue to go there. And naturally, the course of the chiropractor is come here 2 to 3 times a week for until you start feeling better. Obviously, we're not going to force you to keep coming here. Financially, there are some financial limitations for myself too, to how much I can get there. But she said, she's basically like, we're not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do. If this works for you, because when I came back the second time, this works for you, we're going to continue doing this, and that's it. And that's what it is. If you want to try something different, we can try something different. So I went there for maybe a couple weeks in December, up until the point, and I think I was only going like 2 times a week at that point. Up until the point of, okay, here I am, here's what we're going to be doing, here is what's happening. So I went there, and then I said, okay, now I need to understand what's going to happen for myself when I go to a movie theater or when I continue to drive. Driving has been one of my biggest challenges right now, because what's happening is I'm getting this feeling of, holy crap, like it feels like anxiety and panic. Like it actually feels like anxiety and panic, but it's not necessarily anxiety and panic more than it is like stiffness coming from the neck. My neck gets really stiff. That's what's causing the anxiety and panic. And then I'm having a hard time driving, which is really scary to me, at least very scary to me. And I've always been a guy that's had a very easy time driving. As a matter of fact, if you ask any of my friends, I'd be the guy that they would rely on to drive them anywhere. And that's really what it was. And now suddenly this is starting to happen. Even like, it wasn't that bad. It was happening a little bit more recently than it has in the past. In the past, it's happened before, but it's been more frequent, especially when I get to a red light. Red light, forget about it. Like if it's too long of a red light, I'm just like it's just so bad. I can't describe the feeling, but like my body gets weak, my neck and my upper body and everything else starts getting weak on me, and I'm like, okay, clearly there's something an issue. So you guys have probably seen that already, but I'm going to read through it. So then, I went to a movie theater. I went to go see Star Wars and movies, and what happened there was that I wasn't feeling that great. Like I went to go sit down in chairs, and these were chairs that like last year and the year before I was able to sit. I mean, I did struggle to them a little bit, but I was able to sit down in them after 30 minutes. I felt comfortable enough to, just sit up and watch the movie, and that's it. And then, obviously, look straight and not have any issues. Now, suddenly my neck's feeling really weak, and something's going on. And I had to stand up to watch the movie the entire time at the back of the theater. And even then, that was strainful on me too. At that point, the chiropractor, she went on vacation. Well, I could have went to go see another one. I wanted her to continue to treat me. She went on vacation for a holiday for about a week or two. I didn't see her because I had my own things going on with Christmas and whatnot. I went to my dad's house for Christmas. It was okay getting there, but coming back was a little bit worse. I was struggling to come back, so obviously took all the back roads again. Something definitely was off. So came back in January, and I said, this worked for the first 1.5, 2 weeks that I was there, whatever it was, the first 1.5, 2 weeks I was there. And something really worked that we were doing, but I still feel something's off. So can we do this? Let's do this regular adjustment that we're doing. And then on top of that, can you send me for a more recent x-ray? Because the last thing you had was an MRI from 6 years ago, which showed clear-cut neck damage at that point. No surgery or anything like that. And she goes, well, let's pull up your MRI again. So, naturally, she went through the MRI, saw the herniated disc, saw stenosis, 2 herniated discs, saw the stenosis, saw the bulge disc, she came back and saw nerve root compression, and I asked her, does this require surgery? I'm like, should I be getting surgery for this? And she came back and she goes, we can treat this without surgery. She goes, it shouldn't be an issue to treat this without surgery. So just so you know, why I'm telling you this, because I don't think that you need a neurosurgeon consultation of any sort to get surgery done on his neck. We've helped patients with worse conditions get out of here feeling almost 100%. And I'm like, okay. Now here's my problem. This is an MRI from 6 years ago. The X-ray that I had done, 6 months ago, whatever it was, at Princeton, whatever place was I went to, I don't know what. It was not available to her. So I said, can we do this? Now it's been 6 months, it's a new year, can we get another X-ray done? She's like, yeah, we can do that. So she sent me on an X-ray. Notice that put on here cervical spine X-rays, and the clinical indication was chronic neck pain and weakness. Comparison, there was no comparison whatsoever. Five views of cervical spine were obtained. C7 to T1, not clearly visualized. So, okay, whatever. I never had really a problem there. Okay, so the findings on there are vertebral body heights preserved. Disc spaces, loss of disc height, particularly at C3 to 4 and C5, 6, with mild anterior spondylitic ridging. And then that's just really kind of, that's your arthritis of the neck that's happening right there. But it's mild. And mild's okay. Mild's okay. So, there's people that have this like moderate to severe, which is pretty bad. So mild's okay. So that would tell me that I shouldn't be having all these crazy issues, right? Alignment, interspinous distance, mild grade 1 anterior lethesis of C2 and C3. So what that means is my C2 and C3, my disc is forward, like literally forward, like not that much is mild, but it's forward. However, mild grade 1 retrothesis of C5 and C6. So now C5 and C6, which is down here, is now back. So I have a vertebrae that's going forward and a vertebrae going backwards. Oh, and this gets better. Mild reversal of cervical lordosis. So my first question to her was, did we see that? Did we see all that on my MRI 6 years ago? She said, basically, your neck curve is now reversed. And on top of your neck curve being reversed, you have a bone going this way and a bone going that way. So what she said is we have to restore that neck curve, number one. And I'll tell you how I'm going to be doing that. And on top of that, we have to adjust the top too to get one of your vertebrae back to where it should be. So that is kind of like, the top vertebrae that you had. C2 is really where we have to start focusing on that. C2, C3 is where we have to start focusing on getting that back, while you focus on getting the bottom one, back to where it needs to be. So a couple things. So obviously the first question I asked goes, so I asked, hey, does it show up on my MRI from 6 years ago like this? We looked at it. No, it had a slight curve. It wasn't perfect curve, but it was a slight curve. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, how does something like this happen? She goes, well, I couldn't really tell you, but it could be anything. If you have a lot of forward head posture, maybe. If you jarred your neck at some point, that could potentially be. And the first question was, have you been into an accident recently that you think might have caused this? And my first answer was, well, the last accident I was in 2018, and I noticed that while I was okay after I left that accident, I didn't have any pain, I didn't have any symptoms other than the normal stuff that I was going through. I did notice maybe like 6 to 8 months after that, especially after I came home from a long trip, where I was in a plane and driving a lot and whatnot. That's when I started noticing all this starting to happen. So she came back, she goes, well, when we typically see this, my first reaction to somebody is, you have whiplash. Whiplash. Okay. There's another thing too that was happening. It's not happening as much anymore. One thing that I wanted to touch base was back in December, I was getting like this, whenever I was going backwards like this and side to side like this, like on the top of my head, I was getting like this like click, 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 like snap, click, like whatever. Reach out to a friend of mine who actually a friend of mine reached out to me, who basically came back and said, I want to show this to my chiropractor that I work for, because she works for a chiropractor, and I'll get back to you and I'll tell you what it is. And she said, this is tendonitis, and that's what it should, find out this is what your chiropractor thinks the same way. So I asked, what do they think that is? And she said, same thing, tendonitis. And I'm like, okay. She is treatable, but it's very odd. But if it doesn't hurt you, then that's whatever. Not that it didn't hurt me, it just bothered me all the time, right? And I was like, okay. I'm like, naturally, I don't have any pain more than I had weakness coming from the neck. Okay. So going back to that, whiplash. I mean, the only time I probably could have got whiplash is when I was in an accident and my head jarred forward. If it was at any point when I played hockey, but I was kind of stopped playing hockey after that accident a lot, because I was going through I was getting pain in the neck, and I was like, you know what? I'm getting lots of pain in the neck, and that's happening. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. The other thing was and she mentioned it. So sometimes what happens is some of these planes can jar you back or forward or something like that when you're on the planes. But she goes, like, she's had that happen a couple of times. She goes, and then she went over the rest of it. She goes, okay, here's the other thing. Neuroforamina posterior elements, narrowing of the right C2-3 through C4 neuroforamina, narrowing of the left C3-4 and C4-5 neuroforamina. So the impression was multi-level degenerative change as described. No fracture or suspicious osseous lesion, thank God. That's good. Mild reversal of cervical lordosis. So they said they can get that back. I'll just explain to you how they think I can get that back. Please see the report for further detail. Blah blah blah. The one thing she didn't check was she didn't check for cervical stability. So she sent me out for another X-ray to do cervical stability, and I said, okay. I'm like, let me So basically, extension and flex is what they do, and then they take 2 X-rays when you do that. I happened to notice though when I was doing that, I was kind of feeling not now, but when I was at the actual X-ray place, I was feeling off when I was doing that, and I'm like, I feel a little off when I'm doing that. Something doesn't feel right there, and but I came back and she came back to me. Said, well, according to your X-ray, your cervical spine is stable, so you don't have to worry about that. If you did have a problem, we would have to send you for a neurosurgeon consultation, because we've had people that came with that. They were very unstable with their neck, and the only way they were able to fix it is through surgery. So she goes, I don't think that's your case. That's obviously not your case. We don't have to send you. I don't think your case is going to surgery or anything like that. So that's good news for me. So as I've been getting through this treatment, I've been noticing some difference. So what she said was that she wanted to adjust the upper, and then she said C2. And then she noticed something else different that was very different. She said, I noticed your not only your head was over to the left like this, and you can see it's a little bit more straight now, but my jaw was actually over to the left too. Like it was actually like, and she says, so what we have to do is we have to do 2 things. We have to adjust your C1 to get your head on your left side, to get your head back into a proper position. And then on top of that, and that might even adjust your jaw back into the proper position, which actually it has, believe it or not. That is very important to me, because I don't know if you can see, it was like before it was like that before. It was pretty bad. I was like, not maybe not that bad, but like now it seems to be falling back into place. But on top of that, she said, I have to adjust your C0 too. I'm like, what's C0? She goes, base of your skull. Base of your skull to put your head back into place as well. So we had to adjust C1, that only put your jaw and your neck back into place at that point, and then C0 to put your head back into place too. That next day, after that adjustment that she did, and she said obviously she wanted to focus on the bottom pieces too, to have the curve wrong. To try, so she said with the C2 she wanted to get that there, but she might adjust that bottom one too. Activator tool, that's what it was. It's called an activator device. That's what it was. Anyway, not an adjustment device, but activator device. So it activates the muscles, it puts things back into place and whatnot, and it's very gentle. It doesn't hurt at all. You're not having chiropractor going there and cracking you like that or anything like that. And next day, I surprisingly I drove into the office. I'm like, but I didn't take highways because I've been trying to test out going on the highway, but I'm still having a problem on the highway where I'm driving and then suddenly I'm like this, and like everything's back, and I'm getting very weak, and everything's like getting from my stiff neck up to the weakness up to here and whatnot. Even happened earlier today when I was driving just locally around the area, and I've been pretty much okay. So she did that, and she said, that's it. So I said, well, what can I do to restore the neck curve? I'm like, what can we do? So I'm going to tell you guys a couple things here. Many years ago, I looked into something like that. It's called a posture corrector of some sort. It's not actually a posture corrector. It was one of these. One of my friends, posture pump. One of my friends recommended I get this because I was, obviously I knew I had a poor posture and my neck was still pretty bad. What you do is you lie down on top of it with your head over here, and then your neck is supposed to go on this thing, and you're supposed to pump this up, and that's it. To that friend that recommended this to me, I appreciate. I know we don't talk, and it's a shame we were talking a few years ago, but I do thank you for making that recommendation, because I haven't used it as much as I should have. But you've told me how much it made a difference to you at some point in time. and I might try that a little bit on the side for something else, just because I think it's important to get the posture corrected too. Actually, right now I feel okay. I wasn't feeling good before, but right now I feel okay, especially with this on. The other thing is that my chiropractor recommended to me was two things that just came in the mail today. The first thing is this thing right here. So it's called the Apex Cervical Orthosis. I'll show you. It says assists restoration of proper cervical lordosis. So that's how you use it. You can see it like that. I'm not going to use it until I talk to her this week with the chiropractor. She wants to make sure I'm using it properly. So it says patent pending, which is kind of weird. I guess it hasn't been released or hasn't really had a proper patent yet, but she says that she used this and it's helped her out tremendously. Actually, the staff there has been very nice to me and has really told me that sometimes it just takes some time. So I did, and then the other thing is that this is called shoulder side, and you can't really see it too much. Thank you for purchasing Movement and Wellness cervical traction roll. If there are any issues whatsoever, please don't hesitate. Okay, so it doesn't really tell you what it does. You're supposed to put it on a flat floor, placing the side and printing with shoulder side towards you. Generally lie down on the flat surface and position yourself such as your neck sits on top of the cervical traction roll. Relax your neck, head onto cervical traction for up to 15 minutes. We recommend you start off with a short session, 2 to 5 minutes, and work your way up. If lying flat is too comfortable for you, you can try bending your knees upwards to lighten the neck load. When finished, roll to one side to get off. Do not sit straight up. Interesting. So anyway, it kind of tells you how to use it here. It's like it looks like this, and it kind of tells you how to use it here. So it's probably gonna be both a combination of both to try to restore that neck curve. So I asked the questions because I said with my condition of what I have, do you recommend a soft collar, a cervical brace of some sort? And she said no, unless you want to be walking around like this the entire time. She goes, I don't think in your case that you needed that. Funny enough, when I went to go get the stability check for the cervical spine, her husband actually works at the practice too, and he says, "Oh boy, if it's not stable, he's not going to like what we're going to tell him." And that's what she said. I was so mad about that because I didn't want him to tell you, get you worried about that. And I was like, well, I kind of figured you would say it would just be a neurosurgery consultation. He goes, yeah, that's probably what it is. So but however, the reason why I'm opting to wear this now is because of the fact that when you have a whiplash effect, I feel that you should be in some sort of brace. So if it is whiplash, like I think it could potentially be, it should be some sort of brace. Now, I don't necessarily have to wear this all the time, which is good. However, I was for a short drive before, and I was struggling through my short drive before. Came home, put this on for about an hour-ish or so. They actually it's recommended that I sleep in this, so I don't sleep on my back. I sleep on my stomach, so it's gonna be very hard for me to sleep on my back. But and when I do, I tend to, just have some problems with snoring and whatnot, and I can't really breathe that well. I mean, it's not apnea, but it's like I just feel like when I sleep on my stomach or sleep on even my side, I'm sleeping on my side a little bit more. I feel that helps me out. So yeah, I put this on for an hour, maybe hour and a half. Went out for another ride after I was wearing this for so long, and suddenly I felt great while I was driving. I was like, huh. I'm like, that's just weird. I feel really great when I'm driving. That's typically not me. But that's good. That's how it should be. I should feel great when I'm driving. That is the other thing. So where do I go from here? Obviously, I'm still going to see the chiropractor for a little bit. I have my limitations as to how much I can see them. I'm not going to say what that limitation is. However, it could, potentially be more financial than anything else, and I have to consider that because I don't want to, jack up my credit card and max it out because I'm getting chiropractic work done 3 times a week, and that's where I'm going at. I'm going 3 times a week at this point because at least for this month, because that's where I want to get it. They did say it could potentially take longer. I did ask my chiropractor, do you think with everything I have, is it possible to get me to 100%? And she kind of went, she's like, I don't know. I can't answer that question. It really depends on how your body responds to all of this. She goes, I mean, Likely, probably not, but I mean, there's a possibility that you can, but we can get you close to there, and that's just how it is. And I said, what would it take to get to 100%? So she started going over all this stuff with me and whatnot. She obviously wants to have me avoid any surgery. So that is where I'm at now with my neck issues today. I will probably be wearing this more frequently especially these next couple weeks, just because I feel, especially more this week, just because I feel that this is helping me. If this wasn't helping me, I probably wouldn't even be wearing this. But I feel like it's helping me, and if I feel like this is helping me, then clearly I got to do what I got to do. Um, the other thing is that I'm not ruling it out. Unfortunately, I'm not ruling it out, but might be a little bit more risky for me. Is getting a surgical consultation with a neurosurgeon to fix up my neck. Now, a friend of mine had recommended um, a neck fusion surgery because that's what he had done, but it wasn't the same issues that I'm having here today. He basically had a lot of extreme neck pain with two herniated. I don't know if it's two herniated discs or one herniated disc or something, but he had a surgical fusion, which really helped him out because he was in an accident too. And he said that really helped him out. And he says that's really, he recommended a neurosurgeon to me. So I'm taking that into account as well, mainly because of the fact that, yes, it's not off the books, it's not off the tables. Even an orthopedic doctor said it's not off the tables either. It really depends on how you start getting, how I am going to be this year. This is a new year for me. This is what I want to focus on, what I really want to get through here. There's a couple other things. Clearly I had been very bored at home. Like I said, I went to the office the other day. It wasn't that bad going in, but more of a struggle getting home for me. I actually I left a little bit earlier than I typically would have before it really got dark because of the fact that I wanted to make sure I was having an easier time. And if I had to pull over, first of all, I went all the back roads. I don't take any highways. I went all the back roads. So that was number one. And everyone was happy to see me. And I was happy, believe me, I was happy to see everyone else too. I was happy to see everyone else that I did see that day. I wish I could see you guys more. But once I'm going through this, once this is all healed up and fixed, I think I should be able to see you guys more, but I need to get this done first, right? I think this is what the biggest problem is. But the other thing is I'm bored because I'm not getting out as much. So typically for me, I'm a guy that used to like to go to sporting events. I haven't been able to get to sporting events for 7 years because not just because of what's happened now recently, but because of what's happened in the past too with my neck, and that's really what's bothering me. Or I used to be able to get out and drive to a restaurant or or even a concert or a live band or something, and I haven't been doing that, like because of how I've been feeling. And it really sucks because I want to do that because those are things I enjoy doing. I like getting out. I like doing these things. I like spending time with people, seeing people, talking with them, and getting to know them. Because I've been home so much, it's kind of been you get a little you just get a little stir crazy when you get home, obviously. But I would like it if people were actually here. So if you are around and you're watching this, if you are around and you have no plans, you won't have anything, and you say, hey, just want to check up on you. You can always text me and say, hey, why don't I come over and we'll hang out for a little bit. I'd be cool with that. I'd be totally cool with that. Just give me a heads up for like a day or so because I want to make sure my house is clean. I don't want someone to come over with a dirty house. Or even if you say, hey, why don't we get together somewhere locally for, that I know you can get to for like something very simple. That's cool. If I can get to it, I can get to it. I'll let you know. If I can't, I'll let you know I'm not feeling good. So yeah. But that's the other thing too, is that going stir crazy with this. Obviously you get kind of like I'm bored in my house. There's not much to do. There is a lot to do in my house, believe it or not. I have kept myself occupied very well. However, there's just it's always nice to have company, and if I can get company, cool. That would be awesome. So yeah, that's really it. I wanted to share this where I am with this, where I'm going to be going with this. I will be leaving this on for at least 2 weeks. Not all the time, but at least 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks, I'm going to reevaluate myself to see where I am, see how I am driving, see if anything's got into here. The reason why I'm wearing this is because they said sometimes you wear this to get your whiplash better and to limit the movement, and it kind of may actually help fuse your neck together the way it should be. So that's a possibility. B, obviously restoring my natural curve here with these things. after I talked to my chiropractor. C, go into a chiropractor, and which has been extremely helpful and beneficial to me so far. I've even noticed my back's been stronger too, which is something different as well. But that's okay. I never had any back issues, but and then and if A, B, and C don't work in a combination after a certain amount of time, D, go back to a doctor, whether it's an orthopedic doctor, probably a neurosurgeon at that point, to get reevaluated, get a new MRI, have them understand what I should be doing, and that's it. And the other thing, D and the E is to really cut back on that vitamin D that I've been taking, because I think that there could be other issues that are causing all these things too, with what I took, and you can watch it in the previous video. Anyway, okay, done rambling. That's it. I promise you guys. Thank you all for listening. Maybe I'll update you guys close to March, April time frame to see where I'm at, to see what's going on, if I found any answers, if I'm feeling any better. Clearly, my walking 2-3 miles a day has been tremendous for me. My new diet has been tremendous to me. My yoga that I've been doing, my DDP yoga, has been tremendous to me as well, though I have been feeling a little bit weaker doing certain things, so I got to be careful with that. And it could just be because of this. So, hope you guys enjoyed my video. Leave a comment if you have any comments or questions. Reach out to me if you have any suggestions and that you want me to take. If you've given me advice before in the past, thank you again. If I haven't heard from you in a while, please don't don't hesitate to reach out to me just to chat a little bit. I'd love to hear from you. This goes in particular for one person, but yeah, and then anything else, hey, let's see what happens. So there's my update. Thank you guys. Hopefully you guys are done listening to me ramble, and I will see you hopefully in 3 or 4 months with a better update. Take care, everybody.